Ravens team podcast, The Lounge, Jackson said he has a personal reason to change his jersey number as he approaches his 4th season.
Well, I already told Miss Megan, I said we win the Super Bowl, I'm going to number 1. Like, I want to.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really? All right.
That's my original. That's my first number ever. My dad told me number 1, get number 1 because that's the best. Like, you the best. And it always stuck with me. And I got number 8 when I went to college. And then my mom told me 8 stands for new beginning. So I was like, dang, it's a new beginning. So I kept 8. My coach asked me in college, he's like, what number you want? I'm like, I wanted number 1, but y'all gave me number 8. But it's all good because I know what it stands for now. And, I just said, I want to retire number 8 and number 1. I want to do that here at the Ravens. So I want to win a Super Bowl with number 8 on, do much as I can with number 8 on, then come back and do the same thing with 1 on.
Worth noting, Lamar Jackson's not practicing today in a COVID-related case. The league still tries to process per Jamison Hensley and Adam Schefter. Jackson, who tested positive on Thanksgiving, had another test. The NFL officials flagged. NFL is now going through science, and the Ravens are awaiting those answers. Super Bowl champ Jeff Saturday with us. Hey, Jeff, how we doing?
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
Good.
You, Jeff?
Good. Let's get into it. I like all the depth behind his numbers. Number 8's new beginnings, and obviously we all know, Jeff, 1 means you're the best. But now let's focus on the Ravens. Are they legit Super Bowl contenders?
Man, not unless their offense grows, right? I think Greg Roman, the one thing I would say is the offensive philosophy, the run first, I love it, right? You've got linemen built for it. You put your hand in the dirt, everybody goes for it. You got big tight ends, physical. You got one of the most electric running quarterbacks in the game. But they have to develop the next level there. What do I mean by that? The play action path has to match exactly what the run game looks like. And I don't think it's there, right? You have all these zone reads. He's in shotgun. I think they're only under center like 6% of the time. Well, in play action, it's a lot of like just kind of putting the ball out there, but the defense can see it quickly and bail to position, right? I mean, you think about defensive players. They see 7-on-7, which is like pass skelly, which is only the pass players in a drill their whole lives. So they can adapt and adjust so quickly. I would like to see the offense go into, when you're going back to hand the ball, that fake really shows it. I can liken it to when I was with the Colts back early in my career. We ran the zone stretch play, the outside zone with Edgerrin James. And Peyton Manning practiced so many times of how he would fake the ball to Edgerrin, drop the head, and then hide the ball. And it looked exactly the same when he handed the ball to Edgerrin. And what that did is it gave you a split second on the back end, whether that was a linebacker, that was defensive backs. Everybody bought the fake, and it opened guys up. Marvin Harrison running wide open, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Marcus Pollard, you name it. Guys got open because the design fake looked exactly like our run. I think that's the step that the Baltimore Ravens need to take to get their offense to the next level. We all understand they can run ground and pound, and they can be physical. I want to see explosive plays off of play action for Lamar Jackson.
And I think the elephant in the room, Jeff, is can Lamar Jackson improve as a passer? He started out his career promising as a passer. Given his age, he was more accurate than like anyone ever at the same age and experience, including Peyton Manning. You could say, well, that's because the way the offense was designed, whatever else. Bottom line is that was the fact, and he got better. He progressed. But the question is, has he plateaued, or is he still going to get better? The question is, are the weapons good enough, or do they need more? What's Rashad Bateman going to be, right? Like, he's not a guy, Jeff, whose size jumps out. He's not 6'3" or 6'5". He's not a guy whose 40-time jumps out. He's just a really good receiver, at least in college. Now he's got to be a really good receiver in the pros, and he's got to be with Hollywood Brown and maybe Sammy Watkins or whatever, a more dynamic receiving group receiving core than Lamar Jackson's had so far, and he's got to make use of them. I don't want to overstate passing difficulties for Lamar Jackson. He has had a game with nearly 400 yards passing in the playoffs. But by and large, he's 150 to 200 yards passing. He's not the kind of threat going into year, 4 now?
Yeah.
That ideally he would be for them to get past this. They're going to make the playoffs. They'll have a good record. Maybe they'll win a game. To he's there with Mahomes and Rodgers and Brady. If he's the quarterback of your team and you have a defense, you could win a Super Bowl. I haven't seen that yet.
But again, Max, I take you back and say the scheme is what would allow him to get to that position, right? Is what you're asking him to do now is do all the zone read, use his legs to beat you like when they beat the Titans in the playoffs last year, right? I think he ran for almost as much as he threw for, right? And he has that big run to open the game up. Like you don't want to limit those type of plays. So you want that whole offense to function that way. The issue, though, is to open up the plays you're talking about where guys are screaming down the field. And it doesn't have to be timing. It's, look, the route worked because the guy froze in the backfield. That all comes off of offensive scheme. And it has to go back to the details of this offense. Plays have to look the same. If you go back and watch their film, so many of their pass plays don't even liken their run game. Like, I mean, it doesn't even make sense, right? It goes from this zone read, aggressive downhill to straight drop back. What I'm saying is they don't complement each other. And my point to him being able to take that next step that you're asking, I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks that would come in and have the dual threat that he has that would be able to do it. You need to help design the offense to get those free runners in the backfield. Because to your point, their wide receivers have not been what you would say is just world beaters, right? You're going to get the ball in their hand, they're going to go make plays. But you do bring in Bateman, you do have Hollywood Brown. You are asking the tight ends to be a large part of this. Again, explosive plays through their tight ends. It has to be by design. I'm telling you, details make all the difference in the world to a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. This offense has to be designed to allow everything to look similar so that he can flourish in that pass game. It can't just be straight drop back. You can't ask him to go, hey, we're going to run it 35 times, and then 20 times we're going to ask you to go straight drop back, go pick them apart. That's just not the way offenses flow in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we were talking about his COVID status. So he did test negative for days. Yesterday, he officially did test positive. But Max, I want to come to you on this. Obviously, I know the AFC North is a gauntlet in itself. But how many teams, and I'm putting you on the spot here, I don't know if you have them out in front of you, how many teams would you say right now are better than the Ravens in the AFC?
There's one team that's better than every team in the AFC, and that's the Chiefs, who just rebuilt their offensive line. Mm-hmm. And the reason they lost the Super Bowl is because Mahomes was running for his life the whole time. He's still spectacular. You could not do a better job on paper of rebuilding the line the way the Chiefs have. The Chiefs, the Titans are right there. Maybe I put them a little bit ahead of the Ravens right now. The Browns, I would probably put a little bit ahead of the Ravens. The Bills. And then what's interesting is the AFC now is at a place where the special quarterbacks aren't yet on good teams because they're so young, right? When you look at Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, when you look at, and especially with Deshaun Watson's off-field problems, but the Texans aren't good anyway, Trevor Lawrence, those guys are hopefully going to lead powerhouse teams one day, but that's not today. So there are no real teams with clear-cut advantages over the Ravens. Like, that guy's better than Lamar Jackson, except for the Chiefs. But I would say the Browns, Titans, Bills, and the Dolphins are going to be interesting. And I'll give you one more, not in the regular season, but in the playoffs, the Pats. Because if you're going to ask me who I trust more once the playoffs start, if both teams get there, Bill Belichick scheming or Lamar Jackson running, if they can't get the passing game together to the level they might like, I prefer Bill Belichick.
Yeah, and I would also put in there, I would say the Colts. If Carson Wentz plays even decent, the way the defense for the Colts played last year, Jonathan Taylor, that offensive line, that sets them. The thing about the AFC, and I'll say this, even including the Chiefs, this is a tough conference. I think it's substantially better than the NFC as a whole. I think it's basically the Bucs and Packers, but you basically named 6 or 7 teams that really would have a shot. I mean, think about the Colts last year. They should have beaten the Bills in the playoffs in Buffalo, and the Bills run all the way through and ultimately have to play the Chiefs. All these teams are really tight. And the point you brought up is probably the best point. The quarterbacks are really the difference makers on those teams. So if Lamar can take his team to that next level, then you give him advantage, right? Carson Wentz takes him. Tannehill takes it, right? All those teams, it's all predicated on if their quarterback can go up just a little bit to really compete with the Chiefs, because we know Mahomes is in a class all by himself, but those other teams are
ahead of
good
the
enough
Ravens
to win if those QBs play. And the Ravens, they have to depend on Lamar Jackson. Their whole offense is predicated on that dual threat. So he has to play well for them to have any
point,
shot.
Jeff, that's the point. When you look at the Pats, maybe the Pats, but can Cam do it? Can Matt, the same thing with the Dolphins, right? Can Tua progress? But like the teams themselves are more ready, it looks like, than the quarterback. And that's the same with the Titans. Titans have a good quarterback, but is he a great one? The Bills are the one that stand out. Maybe they have a team at least as good as the Ravens, if not better, and a quarterback better.
Definitely.
Maybe, right? Like, but there's all the